full time, Arsenal have beaten Man City on penalties to win the Community Shield. Niliambia wase, we do not lose at Wembley, mkakata kusikia. But kusema ukweli, we were about 3 seconds away from losing. But all in all, we managed to pull that out of the fire. Trossard came on, his shot came off Akanji and went in 90 plus. I don't know what, probably 100 minutes when we scored. This new rule of having extra time of like 8-9 minutes is really going to mess up teams, especially the first 3 or 4 game weeks. Teams that are not fit or teams that have injured players, teams are really going to suffer. And teams with depth, that's an extra 15 to 20 minutes in a game where subs can make a difference. So if someone like Pep makes a sub in the 70th minute, that person has 30 minutes on the field as opposed to 20. So this is already going to make a big difference this season, I'm seeing, especially with the teams that have a lot of depth. But all in all, it was a good game. Man City really started well. Despite having a week less of preseason than compared to us, they dominated us. We showed a bit more. So last year when we played them, there was always times when you could see we are a bit tentative. And even when we set traps for them and they beat our traps, we were a bit slow to recover. But I feel like having Rice there, that is something that is going to change drastically. But also KDB didn't start. So this was just, it's still not a fair assessment of where these two teams are. But for Man City, even though they were behind in terms of their preseason, they were like 3 minutes away from winning this game, from beating us. So I want to say that we're also quite lucky, to be honest. We're quite lucky, let's just be honest. But what I can assure you that we're not lucky is that Man United gave us this trophy. If it wasn't for their shenanigans in the FA Cup final and not losing to Man City, they should have been here playing this Community Shield. And not even that. To add on to that, if it wasn't for them beating us in the US and teaching us how to take penalties, we wouldn't have won an Emirates Cup, we wouldn't have won a Community Shield. So thanks to United, we have 2 trophies in 4 days. And United fans, this is the giving that we want to see. It doesn't need to be Christmas to see you guys give, you know? So thank you for that. I want to say our signings actually played a lot better than previously. Havertz has been playing in the 8 role the entire preseason, but because of Jesus' injury, he had to start up front. That's the one place I really don't want to see him, but I could tell that he's willing to do a job for the team in as much as it's not his favorite position. But the difference between this team and Chelsea is when we get the ball, even if he's playing as a striker, there's runners. Martinelli's ahead of him. If he comes and gets the ball deep, Saka can run ahead of him. Rice is not scared to go ahead of him. So there's runners off him anyway, which is playing to his strengths. He's someone who plays off people who are in front of him, and I feel like that's his biggest strength. So in as much as he was playing as a 9, anytime he dropped down, we could actually have runners to run past him. He also had moments where he controlled the high ball decently 2 or 3 times, but he's still a bit weak in goal kicks, especially in the header. That's something I feel like I don't know, he can work on it. Like that's just not him. Like at this point, 24-year-old, if that's not in you, it's not in you. But at least he's backing up defenders. He's using his size. Those are good things that you'd like to see in a big man up front. Rice, I was impressed by Rice. Recovery was superb. He was making runs in the channel. The only thing is, I feel like Man City were finding ways to trap him in the right side of the midfield, especially when he overlapped Martinelli. So that's something that's just a slight tweak. I guess it also comes with chemistry because this is just the second game playing together. Martinelli has become more like he's varying his attack a bit more. So one time he'll pass it back, he'll go on the overlap, he won't do the same thing twice, which is something I want to see and I'd love to see because that just shows a sign of growth, you know. Saka still doing the same old. Ben White needs to be a bit quicker on those crosses. Again, I know that's not his strength, but he's going to be playing there. So we would like to see a bit more of that. Saliba was quite strong at the back. I loved how he went up against Haaland. Haaland was kept quiet for most of the game, if not all. But I don't think Haaland has played. This is the most minutes he's played in preseason, if I'm not wrong. So I would not hold too much against him. I was a bit worried about Man City in terms of them losing Mahrez, not having players play on the right side of midfield. And for today, they started with Julian Alvarez, which is actually an interesting thing for FPL that I might have to consider. Because if you think about them losing Mahrez And you might say, oh, they've lost space, but they still have Alvarez. And that doesn't mean they can't start Alvarez and Haaland, you know. So that's something to think about. And anytime we pressed, they somehow found space on that side. And Kyle Walker kept on getting space. And it was 3 or 4 times the ball didn't go to him. Eventually, when it went to him, Timber blocked the shot. Then Cole Palmer came on, and a few minutes later, same thing. That's how the goal came in. KT touched the ball, went off of KDB. KDB, who doesn't even want to give an assist, just gives assists anywhere. Guy is not fit. Ball just hits his head, it's an assist. Like that guy is... KDB is one of the best midfielders of our generation. We just have to accept. KDB is what we wish Odegaard to be in the next 2-3 years. Let's say 5 years. Like that's where we would like Odegaard to be. But still be himself as Odegaard. I think as captain, he really pushed at the front. He really willed the team to win. Even when we went down, he was really trying hard, you know. So that's something that I've seen in him. He's leading by example. Then back to Tierney. I think KT just needs... This is going to be a big season for him because there's so many games, to be honest. There's so many games. It's not a good sign when Zinchenko is injured and a right back starts in your position. But at the same time, I still feel like ever since his injury, he's just not been the same. And even the whole of preseason, I think he's only started 1 game, but he hasn't played like a full 60, 70, 80 minutes because of that, I feel like also there's a bit of an injury niggle there or fitness issue that Arteta is trying to cope with. But all in all, I feel like he has a solid place in this team. The way he talks about the team, the way he talks about his role. If Arteta didn't want him, I feel like he'd have been sold by now. But at the same time, even if an offer comes in of like 25 mil, I don't think Arsenal would refuse that offer. But we are stronger with him in the squad. So I'm really rooting for him. I really hope that he can come through. Ramsdale had one of those typical Ramsdale games. 2 or 3 amazing saves, 4 or 5 amazing passes into midfield and across, and then a heart-stopping moment when you think he's going to score an own goal, and then he gives away the ball once or twice. Like a typical Ramsdale game. Like nothing special, nothing too bad. But he kept us in the game with a crucial save. So I'll give him that. And Partey, after getting an early yellow card, actually did the Partey role well. Something that he needs to realize also is like now there's competition for places. Last year, when Partey went down, it was like, okay, we don't have options. We played Jorginho against teams that we want to have possession over. But it's not a given that he'll start every game this year. So he needs to step up. Not that he's been playing badly, but he just needs to know that there's Declan Rice there. All in all, I'm proud of my team. Another trophy, thanks to Man United, thanks to their coach, thanks to their fans, thanks to the stadium that doesn't have toilets. You guys have given us this trophy. I think Man City are off the pace. They're a week after, like a week later in their preseason. So I really won't fault them for this. They are also 3 minutes away from winning this game. So us guys are just lucky. And they just need to learn how to take penalties. Maybe they should play United and take penalties against them. And then they'll win the Premier League after winning it this year. But all in all, guys, football is back. Arsenal, Community Shield champions, 17th time. And this is how we're starting the season. This is how we're getting to it. FPL also back on Box to Box. Deadline, I think, is on Friday, 8:30 p.m. if I'm not wrong. Content every day. We're just giving you tips. We'll share our team. We'll share our captain and all of that niceness. And thank you, Man United, again for giving us this trophy. You guys are the best. Football is back and it's awesome.